Hey YouTube, this is Rose59 here. I thought I'd just give you guys another video on how to do a film positive. I had a request for it. So basically a film positive, or basically what you're going to burn your image into, and how you have to do that. Before you do that, there's a couple of steps that you need to know ahead of time. First of all, you got to think about what program you're going to use and what printer. So I'll just give you a couple of tips on that. For me, I have Adobe Photoshop. I use that just because I've used it for other stuff, so in woodworking and for crafts and stuff. So for me, I really like Adobe. I have tried other programs and I just couldn't get the hang of it, so I've never stuck with them. But do a choice that whatever works best for you. I use Photoshop in different areas, so for me it was worth getting it. There's also other software you can get that's free. There's also GIMP and Inkscape, I believe it is. Those are free softwares that you can download. I will put the links below on the YouTube. You also got to think about what type of printer. For me, I got a printer because I do photography also. So for me, I wanted something that I could print pictures that turned out really, really well. I just had a standard HP printer before, and it didn't really do anything. So I got an HP, was here, Office Jet, it's called 7500A wide format, all-in-one printer I got. For me, I really like it because it allows me to do so many things with it, with different wide formats of printing. I also use that for woodworking, for doing shapes and stuff that I'm cutting out with wood. But get a printer that suits you. I was told at a screen printing place that HP is not the best, but for me, I have printed lots of t-shirts on the films, and it's worked great for me. They're just saying with, I guess, Epson printers, they're a lot better because of the black ink. I guess they have a much blacker ink in them, so they really go well. But for me, the black was really good. On one of these that I printed for a t-shirt, ink was getting low. I didn't notice it until I got halfway down, but it's easy to fix. I just took a permanent marker and filled in the areas, and when I went to go burn it and after I washed out my screen, it was perfect. So there's little ways you can get around that on fixing that. So it's basically all the tips and stuff that you need to prepare yourself for actually making a film. And you also, of course, need to get your film. I'll put a link below on what type of film. I didn't get anything heavy-duty expensive. I just got one because I wasn't sure what type of film. I got a free sample from one of my screen printing places that I went to. You can always ask, you could always ask that you're interested in them, but you're not sure if yours will take it or not. Do you guys have a sample? And I got a sample, and I found out which one that worked the best for me. Basically, just so you know when you do use one, there is a sticky side, they call it a shiny side and non-shiny side. I basically I just lick my finger just a little bit on one of the corners, and if it's sticky, then I know that side has to go down, because that's not gonna, is it? Can't remember now, I think it's, yeah, the side that is sticky, getting myself confused here. The side that is sticky is the side that you want to put your printer page down to, so when the ink comes down over, it's actually gonna soak into it. Mine's not waterproof. You can get waterproof ones depending which company. The supplier that I went for, they didn't have it, but I just make sure I take care of it when I'm done using them. I make sure it's in the folder. So let's get started, and I'll show you guys from start to finish, and I hope you guys enjoy. Hi YouTube, I hope you can see everything here on the screen. I'm just going to basically show you what you have to do. For me, I just basically did 8.5 by 11 just for my paper size, so when I'm printing it and everything, because I print in Photoshop so that it works. So basically what I did is I basically put these little crosses, you can say, or plus signs in each corner. The reason I did that is it helps me, especially in the middle here, helps me to line it up on my palette that later on I'll show you how to do. on how to line it up and everything. So basically, I just kind of put these 3 in line so that they're all basically inlined and all square, so it's easy to line up. So basically, I just made a template, and then once I made a template, after I did, I just saved it, and then every time I just reuse it the same way for landscape, depending on which way you want to do it, or portrait. But for me, I mostly use this way sometimes I use the other way, but it just worked. And I just did a center line down the middle so I could line up my plus signs so I could just have it exactly. They're a little bit off on some of them, but by the time you line it up, it works pretty good. So basically, once you've got this as a starter point, basically the next thing is just to add in your image. So basically, I'm just going to add in here what I wanted to, one of my t-shirts that I did here. So I'm just turning on everything I had. This is a one color step that I did. So basically, when you've got everything that you need to do, you just matter printing it. And for that case, because I'm doing a one color, so this is everything that I need to have. So all you need to do then is just go to File, Print on your computer, and as it just loads up here, it'll give you some information. You're like, whoa! Sometimes it can be overwhelming for some people, but you just got to make sure your printer's all the right printer setup. How many copies you want? You just want one. Center the image, and this sometimes people play with. I don't. I like to leave mine to height at 11 and width at 8.5. The reason for that is because if you start scaling it down, what can happen then is basically when you print it, you think, oh, that was not the right size. And sometimes I have done that, and it's just a tested on one t-shirt, and you can tell the difference the way it printed. So I just make sure I keep everything the same, and I make sure my units are in inches. Sometimes your background box can be checked. I just don't have it checked off or anything like that. And then basically you just hit print when you're ready to go. And when you print, you will get a film positive looking like this, so you can see. I know it's kind of hard because I've got this here, but this is basically how it turns out. And all you need to do, you can even buy these if you didn't want to spend it at a screen printing place, which I first started off with, was just Staples. Staples carry these for your overheads, and it just works just as well. I find with these, because they're much clearer, they don't have any bumps in it. It's almost like a milky, kind of see-through-y kind of look it has to it. And that's basically all you need to do for making a film positive. It's a matter of how you want your design on your computer and what to do. Now, let's say if you did want to make this, for instance, a two-color one. I'll show you the one that I did before here that was a two-color one. And that was this one. So this one, I wanted my letters to be in black, and then I wanted my line to be in gold. So basically what I did is you print one film positive with your, I'll show you here, let me just grab it, with welcome, Aslan's country, okay, and then you just print off with your lion, okay. So you keep your marks and everything all the same, like what I'm talking about just right here. You want to keep these all the same. All you're doing is just either taking away your line and you're adding it back. So one would be like this, then your next one would be just come over here, and then you just got to take away your words. Just got to click here. So you take away your words and you take away these, and then that becomes just one image. So when you're printing, you have two sheets, and when you put them together, that equals one shirt. Okay. So the other tip I just remembered here, sorry about this guys, one thing also that's really handy to have is you want to print off a sheet like this first that has everything on it and once you print off one of these, I'm going to show you in just a minute how to put it on your palette and to line it up. The reason why I'm saying is because these are your center marks right here, from bottom to top here. Or I guess this would be your top to your bottom. This would be your sheet that you have that you're going to put on your palette. Once you have that, you line it up with your screen, then you basically can put it like this on your screen, on your palette, to kind of line it up where your marks are so that you can line it up exactly where your other line is, so that when you burn your image, then you leave this on and you come back and you see it. So that's why it's important to have this for your palette. I will be doing another video on that sometime to show you how your registration lining up onto that. But I just want to give you a little brief video on this, because I did have requests on this, how to make your film positive. And that's pretty much all the steps that it is. It's more just buying the product and just buying the product and knowing which program you want to use. There's nothing really fancy on here. It's just kind of more on what product and how you do it. For me, this is design and playing around with Photoshop what image you want. Another key thing is it has to be done in black. Okay, you cannot leave, you know, if you wanted Lord of Lords to be in gold, let's say you print it in gold, well, you can't put it gold on the screen. It has to be in black. So that is a really, really good point to know, that everything has to be in black. You can play around with the colors. I've done that before. You can play around with your colors to see what colors you want. So for instance, if you wanted, let me see here. So if you wanted to play around with your colors here, bring the screen up, let's put it here in the corner so you can see. You can play with your colors. So if you want to see what colors is going to look on a shirt, I've done that before to play around to see what it is. But when I print it, you have to print it all in black. That is the key point that it is. Like I said, I use HP. I've had no problem with it. But if you're doing it as a profession, I recommend buying a proper printer if you're going to be using this all the time. For me, it's just a hobby I do. So for me, I did a printer that allowed me to do other things that I'm going to be using it for. So for me, it was money well spent because I'm doing it for different things. So if you're using it for different things, think about in the future what you're going to be using it for. Because sometimes these printers can cost a lot of money for good quality stuff. So you just want to make sure that you think about all your ideas that you're going to be doing or whatnot. So basically, that is the steps on how to print a film positive. Once again, it's just picking your artwork on the computer, making sure that it's in black and nice and clear, and then when you go to the printer, just make sure you've got all your settings formatted correctly. Each system or each program is a little bit different, so I can't say exactly how it's going to go. That's why I just kind of did a little short run through Photoshop. But that's kind of really the steps on how to do a film positive. And once it's basically printed out onto this, it's no different than an 8.5/11 piece of paper here. It's really no different. The only difference is it's clear. So that's really all the difference that it is. You just got to make sure on what side it is. Different companies have a different thing. Like I said, for me, I just lick a little bit on my finger and just test it to see which side is sticky and which side is sticky. I just make sure that's on the top side down. For me, it's sticky side is down because my printer, rolls up like this, and then it comes through and then it prints on top. So for me, I have to make sure my sticky stuff is down. So it depends on how your printer comes out. You have to think about all those ideas and what you want to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this makes sense to you guys. But like I said, it's pretty simple. It's, instead of using an 8.5/11 piece of paper, you're just using it on a clear film. And once you have yours on a clear film, you are ready for the next step to start burning your image. So hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys enjoyed it.